Morning traders, it's Matt here from the Forex Coach, and it's currently the Thursday the 8th of February. I talked about yesterday I'd put on a short on the Dow Jones, and we got in up here. I was talking about entries between my two red lines, or second entry between my two red lines here, and it started to come off nicely, and overnight it came down to the limit order, but didn't quite get there. So if we have a closer inspection, we can see that this candle came down. Let's just zoom out. This candle here came down to within sort of a few points of the limit order, but didn't quite tag us out, which obviously being overnight and being asleep, I wasn't to know. Otherwise, potentially looking at this price action, I may have took an earlier exit. And it's holding up at the moment. Looks like there is some sort of trend line across these highs, which potentially might provide it with some initial resistance, but then could provide it with an opportunity to sort of break through that trend line. So I'll keep my eye on that, and I think I'll make a decision soon as to whether to exit this trade or whether to keep it on. Okay, just back, and I ended up closing out the US 30 or the Dow Jones short trade. Obviously it missed the target price down here somewhere. It's come up and it's holding up, so I made the decision to just get out of that and bank the profits that I did have, and looking for a re-entry on that later on today if we can get up to this upper price envelope. Back up to sort of these levels, the highs of yesterday. We have also taken a trade this morning, so we've got a long trade on Aussie dollar, which is currently underwater. So we've got in long around about this level. It's just coming down. It may want to take out this low here, and looking for it to turn around and bounce up. We've got two targets. First target is just above these highs. Second target is up here, just above 760. Okay, just back. We're still in this Aussie dollar trade, and we can see here that obviously initially we went into profit, and then it's had this big run down and sort of come down to sort of jeopardise the stops potentially, but since then it's turned around and started to push back up here. So we'll now sit on it and wait and see if we can follow through with this move, and it'd be nice to see it getting back up to this high over here. Okay, just back. So we've managed to recover this trade, and what I've actually done was closed half of the position off, and in fact a bit more, because I took a bit off this first entry, purely because it was a drawdown trade. It's managed to push back up, and at this stage on the hourly chart, looking at the downwards momentum and stuff, what could happen here is that we could see this come all the way back down to, you know, almost down to this lower price envelope and this low candle here, almost down to 77950, and then potentially go higher. So reason being is I've done that, and then what I can do is, if I wish, I can always get an entry back in down there somewhere if necessary. Okay, we've just closed at this at 2 o'clock, and I've actually closed out this trade. Now it's still got the potential to push up here, which is what we was looking for, but because of what happened with the drawdown, the nature of the trade, I've got out a small profit, because there is the potential that this could now pull back to this sort of zone down here, in which case, if it does, then we'll be able to get a much better entry price. So If it keeps going, then fine, because the overall theory of the trade was correct. It was just a poor entry. If it pulls back, then great. But at least we can get an entry back in. So if it does keep going, I'm not going to feel like I've missed out or anything like that, because it was the right trading decision to do. We was in drawdown and the trade was going against us all the way down to here, and we've managed to put it back, for a small profit. And as I say, we are overbought, so there is the chances it makes sense for this to be able to come back down to maybe this area, and if it does, then that's where we could potentially get long. Okay, just back, and we got the re-entry here on the Aussie dollar. So looking at the 1 hour chart, what I talked about was possible for this to come down and then start to push up. So that's what we're looking for with this. It's come down slightly lower than this lower price envelope, but we have got oversold here. So this is where we'll be looking for this to come up now. I'm only going for a short target on this one. If it was to come down a bit lower, potentially take out this low here and maybe have some form of divergence, then I'd look to get a second entry in, and that would be for a bigger target. So we'll wait and see whether we get the second entry. If not, we just stick with the single. Okay, so we are in now with the second part of this trade, which I spoke about, the potential taking the second part if we have this further push down, which we've had. So I've got a second part now. I'm going for fairly small target prices, to be honest, because I would like to be out these trades, in the next hour or two, ideally. So see how it plays out, at least half of it anyway. If I can get this first target price, then I'll be able to travel stop up on the first entry. So two separate entries there, and our second attempt at the Aussie dollar long. Okay, we're now just gone 5 o'clock, so I'm going to cut this video off here, and you just have to check and see what happened to the Aussie dollar. May still be in this overnight, not sure what's going to happen now. I'd like to get out of it, but it's reluctant to push up at the moment. So we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. So I hope you've had a good day's trading. It's been reasonable for me today. I've had a couple of losses. Sitting net up about £200 today, but having a good week, and looking on to tomorrow to sort of trade with a bit of caution, because I don't want to end the week on a bad note, and I don't want to give away my weekly gains back to the market. I'm well up on my projected earnings for this week, so I'm happy with that.